Okay, so this video is Seriously Casual's How I Butt the Pig. We have not watched Seriously Casual's content on the channel before, so take the time now, if you have not, to go ahead and subscribe already to the homie. I'm going to post this right here so you can do that in the right now zone because, you know, this content is made possible by somebody else. So the least you could do, you could, actually subscribe to them. And if you don't, I hate you and you stink and you're terrible. This is their suggestion on how they would buff Pig. Pig has always been in a weird spot in the game because Pig has notoriously always had very high kill rates, but it's just because Pig is a very, very good pump stopper, but not necessarily a good killer. And to some extent that's a good thing because you kind of want in video games characters you can like beat and have counterplay to, but a lot of people argue she has too much counterplay. She is too easy to beat. And she does kind of remain, like, no matter how many buffs she's received throughout the years, kind of like bottom 5 in the game on most, like, agreed upon tier lists. So, yeah, see how they would adjust them.
The Pig was released to Debadilla on the 23rd of January 2018 and was the 11th killer added. Like most of the killers released at this time, her power has become a bit outdated as the updates have rolled out. I think this is unfortunate because I believe the Pig's power is both very unique, cool, and fitting for the character, and to see how weak it's become is a bit saddening. Nowadays, I don't think it's a controversial statement to say that Pig is one of the weakest killers in Debadilla. Along with Trapper and Myers, the Pig is always at the bottom of
this is the bottom. This is like bottom 3. This is bottom 3 for me. And I say this all the time, that these 3 have the most outdated kits of everybody in the entire game. Like, if you want to look at people that, like, are existing only in the era they came out and really have a hard time, like catching up in modern day DBD, it's always these 3. Yeah, outside of Tombstone, of course, but even Tombstone's a relic of old DBD, because essentially Tombstone is just an old school Mori. That's what it is. Yeah, like Myers, like, the only way he's OP is because he has an add-on that is reminiscent of an OP old offering you can bring. But, like, these 3, like, they're just, like, they're existing in a different era. Like, and, like, not that I want every killer to have, like, anti-chase and stuff like that, but, like, these guys are so far away from the rest of the team. Like, so far away from the rest of the killer squad because it's like, I don't know how else to phrase it. It's literally like they're existing in a different era of DBD. And they've done add-on passes to these characters. They've done slight tweaks to their base kit. But it's like, and none of it is enough. Like, literally none of it has been enough. Like, they are quite literally, like, still very, very, very incredibly outdated. And I think that, like, at least Pig got the update because of an exploit. I will add. I got an update where Pig does get, like, consistent value out of her traps as long as she gets them out because of the 12 search thing. So that's nice. But, like, she's still way, 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 way behind and still, arguably bottom 3, but bottom 5 in the game at the very least.
Many killers tier lists. In this video, I'm going to share some of my ideas on how to hopefully fix the Pig and make her a bit stronger. This is how I'd rework the Pig. Before I go over what I changed about the Pig, I'd first like to go over the problems with her power and what causes her to be so weak. With these problems in mind, we can hopefully think of changes that will help the Pig where she needs it. To me, the Pig has one main problem with her kit, and that's her stealth power. You may be wondering why I don't consider her reverse bear traps to be the main problem. This is because not only do I think her stealth problem is a bigger problem, but that her reverse bear traps are actually in a good spot and don't need to be changed. Yeah. Let me explain.
Like I was just saying, like, the like, her traps, she gets consistent value as long as she downs people and actually puts them on. The amount of, like, consistently, if you get a hat on your head, it's up to 4 searches, but it could be 1 or it could be the 4. But there will always be 12 searches in a match, right? So that's good. That's consistent, good value that you will always be getting. And one of the biggest things, if you guys don't know, when you look at, like, a power tier list, one of the main things that is always a determinant in, like, the strength of a character, even if the streamer or, like, competitive player or whoever happens to be doesn't explicitly say it, consistency is always the name of the game when it comes to, like, a tier list. And not even just Dead by Daylight, but in any video game. The availability of that character to consistently put out results is the name of the game. That's how you determine somebody's strength. That's why, like, a lot of RNG characters aren't high on a lot of tier lists in a lot of different video games. Because like if all you're basing your strength on is like RNG, that could be really, really good, or it could be really, really bad, and it's not consistent. And with the changes to the hats being consistent amount of searches, a consistent number, you are always getting consistent value. So that increased her consistency, which is why I think she's a better killer than Trapper and Myers, because of that consistency. Yeah, like the ambush is kind of I agree, Toto. The ambush is the useless thing. Like, it's fun. Don't get me wrong. I love doing like moonwalk dashes and fun stuff like that, but that thing's not very helpful. That thing is not. It's not very. That thing is not a helpful tool, and you're kind of like better off not even using it a lot of the time. Yeah, and like that's the thing, Beast, is a lot of like you can't even use her dash in a lot of loops in the game. Period. Like it doesn't matter if you mind game or not. Like she will not get availability to use it. Like there are just loops and stuff like that just her power doesn't do anything. It will not help you, and it's just yeah. It just yep.
Changes were made to the reverse bear traps to make them much less dependent on randomness. In case you didn't know about this change, to quickly explain, the reverse bear trap now works like this. By default, 5 jigsaw boxes will spawn in any given map. If there's 4 players in the game, there's now 12 guaranteed box searches split between each player. What this means is that if each player gets a trap in their head, in total, they'll search 12 jigsaw boxes. So if 2 players search 4 boxes each, then the remaining 2 players will have to search 1 and 3 boxes, 3 and 1 boxes, or 2 and 2 boxes.
Which is consistent value.
Are also guaranteed
it gives her
to get the
consistency.
current trap off after the 4th search, so the pig can't just camp one of the jigsaw boxes.
Which got removed.
These changes made the reverse bear trap more consistent and buying the pig time. To add, there's also not many ways you can buff the reverse bear traps. Buff the lethality, and you have a power that may unfairly kill survivors.
Yeah, so here's the problem. You see this a lot with Pinhead, right? You see this a lot with Pinhead. Is that the more complicated a power is in Dead by Daylight, the more rough it is on new to middling players. The more rough and complicated a killer power is, the harder it is for newer to middling players to deal with, because they're still trying to get used to the basics of the game, like terror radiuses. It's like terror radiuses, like, you know, should I drop the pallet? Should I save the pallet? Where should I run when I'm in danger? Should I hide? Like there's a lot that you're still learning about the game, much less having to figure out, like, what's a box? Do I go solve the box? What do I do? How do I dodge the chains if the chain hunt is up and the chains are just hitting me while I'm trying to solve the box? Like, you can't have both, right? Like, you can't try to figure out the mechanics of the game that you're still getting used to on top of all this complicated stuff. Something like, you know, how do the bear traps work, right? Like, that's hard to, like, you know, keep in your head at the same time. And it's not even, like, the brand new stuff, like I talked about, where it's like, you know, dropping pallets. Where do I run? Do I hide here? Like, you may still be trying to, like, how do I loop well? What gen should I do to avoid a 3 gen? And while you're trying to figure out, like, even the more middling stuff in the game as you get better, trying to, like, figure out the correct counterplay to a specific power that's complicated. This is why her kill rate is high, because you have this whole other, like you guys said with, like, Sadako is another good example. Pinhead's a great example. Is like, if the power's really, really complicated, like, it's like, it starts getting out of hand because it just really starts stomping down newer to middling players because they're still learning things on top of having to, like, you know, play this very complicated power at the same time. And it's just like, that's why their kill rates are high, or artificially so, I would say. It's just that they're good pump stoppers. So you can't really make the traps more complicated. That's not really a thing you can do without making that pub stomp, like, factor way stronger, which is already kind of not great. And that won't make us happy as people who have played the game longer, because we're still in the same spot, right? Like, we're still in the same spot where, you know, our chase is bad and our skill doesn't matter as much, and we want that to show through instead of just having, like, a power that can be easily circumvented by experience. So, yeah.
Buff how long it takes to take the trap off, and you have a power that is a chore to go against.
You mean
this
like
is why
Legion?
I think the reverse bear traps are actually in a good spot and don't need any major changes. Meanwhile, I believe the pig's stealth power is the opposite. It leaves a lot to be desired. To quickly summarize their stealth power, as a pig you have the ability to crouch. While crouched, you move at 90% speed, 100% being survivor sprinting speed.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, Matt, is that she's already a good pump stopper the way the traps are. Because what we're talking about right now is the concept that we would buff the traps to improve her being bad, and being bad is because it's already hard for new players with the current reverse bear traps. So buffing the traps is not the right answer.
Undetectable. While crouched, you are also able to perform a charged lunge attack. The attack takes 2 seconds to charge and allows the pig to move at 172.5% speed during the extended lunge. Here are the issues that I think are most problematic with this power. To start, moving at a 90% speed while crouched is a huge detriment. As more killers get released, it has become increasingly clear that good mobility greatly improves how strong.
So this is something that I actually kind of agree with, and it's something that you saw them try to sort of adjust on Myers with his mirror add-ons. It's like, I understand not wanting to have like characters, like wanting to slow characters down that are in stealth because they didn't know if stealth would just be like a very strong broken thing in DBD, right? And of course, like now we know that like anti-chase and map mobility are like the 2 main things that make you good at the video game. Can you move around the map quickly? Do you have anti-chase? Built-in slowdown is nice, like Pinhead's boxes or Pinhead's box. Pigs, Pigs reverse bear traps is a good example. Sadako with Condemned, Wesker's back here with his Ouroboros. Like, it's nice to have built-in slowdown, but the 2 big things that make you really, really good at the game are mobility and anti-chase. So, yeah, I get why they didn't know if stealth would be one of those big things that would just make characters really, really good at the game. But he's kind of right. There is kind of no reason for Pig to move as slow as they do in stealth. Especially when you have Wraith, like, out here zooming. Let's take Wraith, for example. Wraith's out here going super Mach speed in stealth. Like, like, why does Pig have to, like, mosey around while Wraith's just Wraith is a race car. Wraith is a race car in their stealth ability, but Pig has to be like, we'll get there eventually. Like, it's like, what?
Killer is. With decreased movement speed, it makes traversing the map and patrolling gens even harder than it is for a killer lacking a mobility power.
Yep.
This problem is even more evident when you compare her ability to other stealth killers like Wraith and Ghostface.
Yep, I just said
both of these killers don't move slower, and in Wraith's case, even moves faster. You can only really use the crouch to sneak up at survivors when you 100% know they're going to be there, or else you've wasted far too much time.
And that's you see me do this a lot in my pig matches. Like, you see me do this a lot in my pig matches where I'm like, I want to stealth around, like, and I want to play a stealth character. Obviously, this is why I'm playing her, so I'll like stealth around a lot. But then like gens start going because like, even though I want to stealth around and be sneaky, like because I'm moving slow, it's such a time deficit, and time in DBD is gen time. Time in DBD is gen time. So it's such a time deficit to play stealthy with this character, but that's like the other half are kit, so you're only using half the kit if you're not doing it. It's just like something. Yeah.
Secondly, the roar at the start of the charge of her lunge attack gives survivors way too much time to react.
It does.
What could be a cool power that keeps survivors on the edge of their seats as they do gens is ruined by a loud lion roar that I don't even think is very fitting for the character. Again, this problem is even more evident when compared to other stealth killers. Ghostface can swing straight out of stealth, and Wraith's spell only starts halfway through the uncloak.
Yep.
While you can still get used with the lunge attack at certain loops, and some players have even figured out some creative techniques with it, I find it disappointing that you rarely are able to ambush survivors with it.
Yep.
Despite it being called an ambush dash.
This is something that I find strange in general with DBD's design. It's like, Ghostface is a great example, because Ghostface has like the little tassels that make kind of like a whooshing noise. So you can kind of listen for them, right? And then you have like Wraith, like you said, where like the bing bong happens, but it's like only it's when it's halfway through the animation, so you have a short window to react. But you'll have characters like Pig, obviously, who has to like roar to announce her attack, which gives them so much time to move. And then you have characters like Sadako, who have a lullaby as a stealth character. Sadako has a lullaby as a stealth character. While she is stealth, you can still hear her. She still essentially has a terror radius, even if she's stealth. So it's just little weird things like that. It's just like, I just don't know why they do that. Sadako has a lullaby? Yeah, that little string, like, it's like, you know, like that there's that sound in horror movies where it's like that, you know, it's like they're taking a knife and like dragging it down like a string. Like when you're hearing that, that is her lullaby. That is her lullaby. That means she is stealth. That's not her normal terrorius. That's her in stealth, but she's nearby. It does as she gets closer, pretty sure. I don't play against her too often, to be honest, because, you know, she's kind of a bad character. So I haven't really noticed that it does get worse as it gets closer. See the title of stream. Hey, I took it. It was a good idea. Good idea. Wait, I thought you'd be happy to have your title immortalized, Logan. But yeah, it's like, I don't know. It's like, why do we have? What's the point of having a stealth killer and then forcing them to announce their presence when you already have stealth killers like Ghostface and even Myers to a certain extent that don't have to announce their presence? It's just like, doesn't make sense to me.
So after looking at what I think are the pig's main problems, we can see that in order to fix the pig, we have to make some tweaks to her stealth power to make it more worthwhile to use, to make the ambush attack actually be able to ambush survivors.
Yeah.
Here's some changes I have in mind that I think could make these things happen. The first change is to simply make her move full speed while crouched. This alone will make the power much more useful in more situations, but this change can't be implemented alone. Having infinite undetectable at full speed on command wouldn't be fair.
True.
For example, Ghostface moves full speed while undetectable, but there's many ways for him to be forced out of his stealth mode.
Yep.
There's no way to get Pig out of her stealth mode besides stunning her, but that's not really feasible all the time.
Yep.
To make this balanced, I would change slightly how crouch works. Crouching would now have a meter. This means you wouldn't be able to crouch forever. Instead, while you crouch, a meter slowly depletes.
You know, a lot of people are gonna be like, no, don't do that. But that's rough on your knees, brother. You ever actually crouched in real life? It's bad for your knees. It hurts. It hurts after a while. You're telling me she can just crouch and just walk around all the time? That hurts your knees, man. That's not realistic. Nope. Yep. She would have to stand up at some point. Her knees would be cracking. Yep.
Once this meter is fully depleted, you'll be forced out of crouch. To refill this meter, you just simply stay out of crouch. For every second you're not crouched, the meter will fill. You'd be able to crouch at any moment as long as there's some power in the meter, so the meter doesn't need to be full. This change would mean you'd have to manage when you crouch to get the most use out of your power, but while crouching you'll be much faster than before.
Yeah.
This means that if you try sneak up on survivors but they are not there, you
First
don't...
DLCs I bought were Bubba and Pig, so many streams this made some Hicks looks nice. That's the thing in like every game. It's like there's always like low tier warriors. That's what I like to call them, Lucky. There's always low tier warriors. I like to play low tiers in fighting games. I was I was kind of a low tier warrior, but there are low tier warriors. That is the thing, and it's like there's a grander sense of pride. Yeah, I played Ganondorf in Melee too. How did you know? There's a greater sense of pride in playing a lower tier character and getting results. So it's like really exciting, right? Like it's like really exciting. Because you know, like there's plenty of times when I'm playing like Wesker where I feel like I'm just kind of winning the match because I'm Wesker, right? Like I got the built-in slowdown. I hit a hit I shouldn't have hit in his lunge. Like there's a lot of times it doesn't feel necessarily fair that I'm winning, and it feels like it's more the character than anything else. It kind of takes the wind out of your sails. That's why you don't see, well, besides nausea and motion sickness, like Nurse, Blight, not a whole lot of spirit, because like, you know, their kits are so strong that I just kind of feel like empty playing them sometimes, because I know a lot of the time it's the character and not me, and that's kind of like so yeah.
You don't lose a lot of time like before, but you are slightly punished for misusing your power, because now you need to let the crouch meter refill. Another change I'd make would be to remove the line roar at the start of the ambush attack.
Yeah, that's
Instead,
easy.
once you start charging the ambush attack, you'll start emitting a tear radius. This tear radius would start off at 8 meters, but climb all the way up to 32 meters once the attack is fully charged. This would give a sound cue that all survivors can react to.
That'd be cool. That'd be cool, because you can do a lot of stylistic stuff like that, right? You can do a lot of stylistic stuff like that, too. Like implement, like, a sound from the movies or something that gets louder as, like, the charge is coming. That'd be cool. That'd be neat. It's, like, quiet at first. Yeah, that would be, like, because that would make it kind of like Ghostface, right? Because, like, we were talking about how Ghostface is a good example of this. That kind of makes me like Ghostface, because, like, you can, even if you don't actively see Ghostface, you can hear the tassels moving as he gets closer. And that gets louder as it gets closer. So it's kind of like implementing that, except for her. So, yeah.
It wouldn't be as blatantly obvious as a lion roaring. Every time a survivor hears a slight tear radius, they'll have to figure out if it's a pig ambush, or if the pig has just gotten close. If they ignore the tear radius, they may fall victim to a pig ambush, but if they play it too safe, It may waste little time they could have spent on a gen. I think this will instill a little paranoia and make facing the pig just a bit more scary.
Like an actual stealth killer.
That concludes all the changes I'd make to the pig in an effort to make her a bit stronger. Hopefully these changes would not only make her a stronger killer, but also make her a bit more fun to play as and against. If you have any changes you'd make, you can leave a comment below. I'd like to thank you for making it this far. I hope you enjoyed your time. If you liked this video, you may enjoy some of my other videos. Currently, only 18.5% of people who watch my videos are subscribed.
Subscribe! Do it! I did this at the beginning of the video. Do it right now. Go over there. Go support the official release. Get over there right now. Do the subroonies. Do the subscriberonies. Do it.
If you're not subscribed and you'd like to see more videos like this, I'd ask that you do. If you'd like to see behind the scenes of my videos or updates about upcoming videos, you can follow me on Twitter. That's all for now. Thank you, and goodbye.
Yeah, so I honestly, I don't have much input there. That's essentially perfect. Yeah, like, honestly, yeah. Because that is kind of the main issue, right? Is that her traps are fine. I think her traps are, I agree, her traps are in a perfect place. I think her traps are perfectly balanced. And you wouldn't be able to buff them without making them obnoxious, but if you make them weaker, they suck. Right? So, from that point on, you gotta fix the rest of her kit, which is her dash, which is incredibly situational and not very helpful. So, yeah, I do agree that, because essentially what their ideas in this video were to make the dash more in line with, like, Ghostface, where Ghostface can stealth more freely at a slight cost, but his stealth attack is better. So they were trying to bring it more in line with other stealth killers that actually function well, like Wraith and Ghostface, which is way nicer. Way nicer. Crouch, yeah, I could agree that, like, you know, I think the crouch is fine. Because, like, honestly, the crouch as a concept is fine because you lower yourself below, like, line of sight, which is something Ghostface could do too, right? Once again, referring to a different stealth character is actually good. Who's the best stealth killer in DBD? Right now, Condemned Sadako. Once Overbrine Eruption goes away, probably Wraith. Without Overbrine Eruption, probably Wraith. With Overbrine Eruption, Condemned Sadako. Yeah, but Spirit isn't, like, actually a stealth killer. Not technically. Not technically. Serotonin Nemesis. These are add-ons, not stealth killers. Come on now. Come on now. If you want to be cheeky, you can say Myers Tombstone, but that's just an add-on. Which killer is the best stealth mechanic? Probably Wraith. Probably Wraith. Like, in terms of effectiveness, Wraith. He's not even visible after a certain, like, he's super fast in his cloak mode. He's not even, like, visible after a certain amount of time. Like, you can't even, like, see him when he's like super far off. His lunge is really good, and there are add-ons to make it even better. Like, I think Wraith is the most effective stealth killer. I think Condemned Sadako is effective right now because of Overbrine Eruption buying her time to condemn people, but as soon as that gets nerfed, I don't think she's better than Wraith. Wraith is cool. I like Wraith as, like, a turn your brain off and just play the game kind of character. I agree. I like Wraith. Who's the most fun stealth killer? Obviously I'm biased and I like Myers a lot. But he is very outdated and painful to play, if I'm being honest. Who's the most fun? I think Sadako's a lot of fun. I like playing Sadako. Little angry lady doing those phase and out of phase shenanigans. I think Sadako's really fun for me. Sadako really that bad? She's okay. I think she's artificially strong right now because the Overbrine Eruption meta gives her enough time to condemn people that she wouldn't typically have. But outside of that, Sadako without crutching on those perks that will probably be nerfed next patch anyway, I think she's pretty okay. She's pretty average. She's like low B, C. Low B, high C. She's all right. No, she's probably just high C. Because high C, I'm thinking, like, if I'm thinking low B, I'm thinking, like a lot of... Because, like, B tier is, like, you know, Nemesis, Pinhead, Billy, characters like that. Sadako's not there. Sadako's not up there with them. Yeah, her passive phase is the fun part. That's why I like her, Lucky. Her passive phase is really, really fun. I feel that's why I like her. Because, like, doing shenanigans with the passive phase is neat. So, yeah. Twins is a stealth killer because you never see them. Yeah, they're so stealthy, they don't even appear in the games. Yeah, she's like, I feel like she's like high C. Her passive phase is nice. Obviously, Condemn can still be done without overbrain meta. It's just way freaking harder. But yeah, it's like, she does have map mobility. She has very, very good map mobility with her televisions. So, yeah, she's like high C. I think she's C tier. She's okay. She's all right. She's kind of propped up by a strong meta. But, other than that, yeah. Collins had high C. I loved high C. High C was great. I loved it. Whenever I was on break at McDonald's, back when I worked there when I was a youngin', we had these little cups that were like this big. We can go get, on our breaks, we could go get a little sippy sip. You were only supposed to use it for water, but I got high C all the time. I got high C all the time. No, I agree with that, Volgan. Pyramid Head, a lot of his strength came from, like, being a hyper tunneler and, you know, all that stuff. But obviously, like, anti-tunnel has been kind of just, like, nerfed out of the game in general. So his niche is kind of, like, not as prevalent. But yeah, in terms of Pig, I think bringing Pig more... both Pig and Myers need to be brought in line with the other stealth killers because they feel outdated. And I agree with the ways they would do that with Pig. Myers is a whole other can of worms. Maybe that's a video I can make about how I would improve Myers. I made a video a long time ago thinking about giving him like a teleport ability, which I think would help him a lot. But I don't know. I would have to revisit that. I might have to revisit that. But yeah, I agree with most of the things that were said here. Pumpkin scatter across the map. I was thinking Wes. I was thinking like with like you know how in the movies he'll like stand behind like the hedges, and he'll like he'll stalk a little bit and then he vanishes. Like I was thinking like making that thing that he does in the movies like a mechanic, and that's like his teleport ability. You know, something like that. Like you can just like like slink behind a wall and just end up somewhere else. Essentially what happened is before Dredge came out, I gave Dredge's power to Myers with the lockers that he could like lean like Ghostface can from lockers. But he could only do it from lockers. Like he could lean off lockers and stare at people. And then when he got done leaning, he would have the ability to teleport to another set of lockers somewhere else. But they gave that ability to Dredge. So obviously can't do that anymore. That would just be that would just be Dredge's power, or at least part of it. So yeah, I would have to like rework that somehow. Because it made sense at the time, but obviously that's someone else's gig.